Jack and Betsy.
Yeah.
Jack had given Betsy a ring.
Oh, without asking permission? Or
Yes.
without asking for
Without
a hand
asking.
in marriage?
And when Papa came to
He did?
Grand Rapids, Jack and Betsy picked him up for whatever reason he came, and Betsy had a ring, and so she was sort of, but Papa didn't notice it or something. And when he did notice it, then he said to them, "Well, what is that?" And Betsy said, "Well, it's a ring." Well, didn't follow the protocol here or whatever. So Jack Jack did write a letter to ask permission.
Oh, it had to be in writing?
Well, I think Jack said they had.
Speak it.
Did Jack say he wrote a letter?
I have no idea.
Did he go back in the Navy or something then after they got engaged?
No, I think he was. I don't know.
He was still in the Navy when they got married.
Oh yeah. It was Valentine's Day, 1947. We had gone to Ann Arbor for, Tunis had an interview for medical school. And on the way home on Valentine's Day, he asked me to marry him. And I said, "You have to ask my father." So he wrote a letter to my father. And I don't know what that letter said, but the letter that he got back, I read. And my father said that I was a tender blossom on the vine of life. He thought Tunis was too old for me, because there's 5.5 years difference.
We all laughed about that.
And he had met Tunis one time when he came for another thing, and he told my mother that he was a dark man. And I think he meant by that that he was serious. And he'd also been in the war and everything. And he thought he was too old for me.
Well, then how did this all get resolved?
It didn't.
Well, then it just, okay, so that was
the going to get married.
February. He asked me to marry him. Then the letters went back and forth, and then on July, after that year of school, then when I went home for the summer, Tunis came to visit, and he came over the 4th of July, and on the 3rd of July, he arrived. He had driven out, and my father was gone for some meeting or something. I think he was in South Africa, maybe something for a conference. I don't know, but anyway, he wasn't home. And under the cherry tree in the parking lot behind the garage, Tunis gave me my ring.
You said, "What is that?"
So I go in the house, and my mother looks at it, and she says, "Papa's not home." That was the end of it. So that was really not the proper thing to do, because I don't know, he didn't really have his okay yet.
So did you keep wearing the ring?
I kept wearing the ring, and everything worked out finally okay, but there were certain things to follow. Okay, John, did you have to ask for Marion?
I guess
Yeah,
I did.
I said to John,
She insisted.
My father said,
Well, yeah, take her.
no, he said, and be sure to go to church twice on Sunday. And we both said, yeah.
Who said that?
That's right.
I?
You
No.
asked that question.
What did I say?
I'll think about
I lied.
it. You said, yeah.
I don't have that
Parents.
impression at all, no. I
And
think he
they
was being concerned for your welfare. And
they loved us children and really wanted
yeah.
to do the best they could for us, and I take no offense. In fact, when I told that, you know, everybody laughed really, and I thought, that really isn't funny. I think it's quite tender, in fact. You got bombed too.
We all laughed and kept on rolling and kept on rolling.
But you know, I think I see that as a tender concern for me.
Yeah, I don't.
You know,
I
don't see anything really
It's all
comical
about
it.
me.
I didn't take
everybody-
anything you were saying as a negative thing.
No,
I thought
no,
it was all above board and.
I think our parents were very great. You know, the wedding. Mama made all those dresses. They did all they could to make us a happy wedding, and everything was good. And then one time, when we lived on Oak Street yet, you children were all little. I think Bill had gone to school for the first time, or anyway, that you were that age. And my father and mother came on a Saturday, and they stayed for supper, and they started discussing Bill going to school or whatever, and Christian school and so forth. And my father said to me, "You have a good husband." And that is the only time I think anybody ever, it never occurred to them to say anything about that, but I think They had
But-
a good conversation about Christian education and.
But he eventually gave his permission. How did that happen?
Well, I don't know as if he ever said in so many words, like,
Oh.
yes, go ahead. I don't know that, but I think it just evolved that way. That this was the accepted thing, that they did all they could to make it happy.